Welcome, everyone. My name is Phil Anthony. I'm with ICC as a digital code specialist. It is Tuesday, November 21st. Happy Thanksgiving week to everyone. What we'll do here today is one of our monthly webinars to give an overview of the digital codes websites, features, functionality, and answer whatever questions you may have. I'll do a short little presentation overview here with a few PowerPoint slides, and then we'll go into the actual software and accessing digital codes. So we are recording this. After the event, we will send a recording out to all registrants. While we're doing this, I encourage you to post questions in chat. I'll try to review those as we're talking. If I'm able to address them right at that point, I will. And any other questions we will definitely have time for at the end. So the initial presentation is probably in about 40 minutes, will allow a lot of time for follow-up questions and allow you to ask those as well too. All right, so getting started here, the digital codes, ICC digital codes are available. It is a web-based software, and you have different levels of subscriptions that you can get a license for. When we talk about our digital codes, Premium Complete, that's what I'll mostly be referring to. And I do that because we have about, I think it's 1,577 at this point in time. We continue to add more titles to that collection as they become available. But the Digital Codes Premium platform, what it does is going to allow access to all these features that you see listed here, and I'll mention a couple here, but I'll go into further details. But the ability to be able to create notes, copy paste, highlight, annotate, bookmarking, be able to collaborate with those notes with your team, you're able to do that. The ability to create favorites, content that you may access frequently via searches or other ways. And the ability to do these advanced searches across hundreds or thousands of titles for the information that you're looking for. It really allows you to move beyond those limitations that paper and PDF codes you may be currently accessing. As you see at the bottom there is a 14-day free trial. It really, truly is free. We do not ask for any credit card information. So if you do sign up for it, you're going to have access to Complete. And you, like I said, don't have to pay anything. The trial will expire at the end, and you can decide whether or not you'd like to register. So when we're talking about Digital Codes Premium, once again, the word premium is a reference to the software and the premium features that you can access. Premium doesn't mean a set of titles or books or anything like that, because you do have the option on ordering the type of subscription that works best for your organization. If you just need to reference the International Building Code, that would be a Digital Codes Premium single. It's a single title, the IBC. Nice thing about it still is that it will include previous cycles that we have available that are digitized on there as well. And then an example of a collection would be the iCode collection. So that would be IBC plus, the 15 other total model codes that we have would be considered a collection of iCodes. Another example of a collection would be the state amended codes. For example, we have the Florida collection, the New York collection, California collection, and those would be specifically just those state amended codes. Another example would be the commentaries as a collection. And then finally, we have the Digital Codes Premium Complete collection. And that will include those ones as previously mentioned, any of those single titles, the iCodes, any of those state collections. And then in addition, you'll have access to standards from other standard development organizations as well too. As mentioned, there's 1,577 titles in there as of today, and those do continue to grow. Here's a list of some of the organizations that we do have our standards available from. And the one thing I'll mention about the ICC digital codes Premium is that all of our content that you'll be able to view and access comes directly from those SDOs. We have agreements with everyone that we work with, so you know that when you're accessing content, standards and codes, they are coming from the authoritative source. They come directly from them, so you can be assured that you're getting it directly as it was intended and created by those organizations. And as mentioned, there are different ways that you can access the subscriptions to these licenses. And put Premium Complete, to be frank, that's what most people end up purchasing. It is the most expensive of those packages, but where it comes into play as being a money saver is if you're going to get multiple singles or multiple collections, you will quickly get up to be above the price that it would be for a complete. So you can always order something more specifically if you only need one or two titles, but Premium Complete does have the best value there. And as you can see, there are going to be discounts available. There's actually 3 discounts available. One would be the membership pricing. You see that if you're logged in with your active ICC membership, there will be a discounted price displayed there. And I guess just go back there real quick. For example, on the DCP Complete, the $10.56 annually for one license drops down to $7.92. So when you're logged into the store with your ICC membership, that discounted pricing will show. We also put substantial discounts for multiple licenses purchased at the same time, and we use those at lower numbers. It doesn't have to be a huge quantity. You can start seeing the difference at 2 and 3 to 4 users, above 5, above 10. And then finally, there's an additional discount if your organization is able to budget for a 3-year subscription plan. That is also a significant discount. So as you put those together in the shop, there's a nice little calculator in the cart that you'd be using, and you can determine what will be best for you. I will talk about this a little bit more towards the end, but you can either have these licenses that you acquire be dedicated to one user, so they have always on access and their notes are private to themselves. Or if you want to share licenses among many people, to help save on that budget, you can share licenses. For example, you can have 2 licenses for 10 users, and people can access all that content. As they're sharing those licenses, the only limitation would be the number of people in that group is limited by the number of licenses that you have in there. We'll also mention for larger organizations or for organizations that need to dedicate these accounts to individuals so they always have access, we do have something called the Digital Codes Premium Enterprise platform that has some more administrative features, make it easier to deploy 100 people at a time by just entering in their email addresses. The pricing is the same for one license as it would be for a enterprise seat. It's just easier to deploy and manage for people that need always on access. So I have my information up here. I will put this at the end of the presentation so you can contact me as well, but that is my direct contact information. I do spend most of my day helping organizations determine the best solution for their Digital Codes Premium deployment. And here I will start on the Digital Codes, the website. And as mentioned, if you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and I will circle back around as we're going through the presentation and the webinar and answer those questions as they come up. So as mentioned, Digital Codes is a web-based software, and the advantages of that is that you can access this code content from anywhere you have access to an active browser. So this can be your desktop, it can be your laptop that you carry around with you, it can be your phone, your iPad. Your best experience will be accessing to the browser that will have all the features available, but we do mention, and this is also on the home page, if you do have an active license, you would be able to get the app that you can download. Right now, the app is only available. It's for the Apple devices and Google devices. It's not a PC app, so any of those mobile devices you can have, and the advantage there would be you could download titles onto your app and access them in case you do not have any internet access. All right, so once again, beginning here, I'm guessing many people are probably familiar with this website here because we do allow free access to many of our common codes without having a license. As you can see here, I am not signed in, but you can access any of the I codes, and all of the state codes that we have contracted back with those states to provide their amended codes online. So just for example, I will go here and I'll select Browse All iCodes, and I'll point out this feature. You know, one thing that's great now that we are digitized is that you have the ability to access the current code and all these code cycles that would be listed for those books as well too. And as you see here, we are in the process of releasing our 2024 versions of the iCode. That cycle has just been finalized. We have 8, 9, 10, 11, and I see a 12th one there. So, well, that's a 2021 there because it's including previous cycles. But we have 11 of those 24s out, and as the remaining ones are available, those will be placed in there as well too. So if you do not have access with a license or a subscription, you can still access the title. And let me go to the 2021 IRC. So as we see here, we are able to, on the left-hand side, go through the index, table of contents. We're able to read the individual code sections, jump to those code sections as well, and be able to view them. Now you see all these other icons here and some other features I'll show you that are not accessible until we log in. And for example, I can't highlight and copy and paste. So you are able to view without a license, but now we're going to log in and you'll be able to see what you're able to do when you have a license, a subscription to the Digital Codes Premium. So as we're signing in, what's going to confirm that I do have an active license is you're going to see, well, that logo up here changed to Digital Codes. Now it is Premium. And over here, I'm logged in, and you can see from my title that I do have the Premium complete. If you have a iCode collection, it would read collection. If you have a single, it would just read single. But with these gold features here, you know that you are now logged in and have access to the features that come with Digital Codes Premium. So what we have started here, well, I guess I'll jump in and let you know this is kind of interesting right here. It did pull up right to a note. So here's where, if we're going to talk about, you know, a little bit ahead in the future here in this meeting, collaborating with notes. So if you are sharing your licenses in a shared group so people can go in and collaborate and view each other's notes, this is an example. Like I just came into IRC and I can see who created this note there. I can organize notes by project tags, and then any custom content that you'd like to add to that can be in there. So there's an example. I just came in. You're able to create these notes and be able to view those if you're sharing it in a group. If you happen to want just the dedicated licenses, then the notes are not shared automatically. You would have to specifically share them. So what you're going to see here is at the edge of the right-hand side of each of these code sections is, we call it the, I guess you can call it the waffle or the tic-tac-toe board as I'm scrolling down here. And what you're able to do is create, it opens up these 4 icons. The first 2 are for creating notes. These first 2 icons will perform the same function. If you notice that earlier note I showed you, it had highlighted something that I'd put on there. And let me back up quickly here too. The first feature that everyone likes to have is if I highlight anything here, now I can now copy and paste into an email or a Word document. But if I highlight this and then select this first notes button, it will keep that highlight on the floor joist. If I don't want the highlight there, the same dialog box opens up, and here's where we are able to create a note. So as you can see, it has a nice text editor. You are able to, you know, use strikeouts. It has a strong editor where you got bullet points you can add. As you can see, you can add files, multimedia, links, anything else in there. And then you have the ability to organize these by categories. We call them project tags. If you're working in a group or you've created project tags in before, any of the tags, project tags that have been used previously would be available to you. If you wanted to start a new one, you're able to go through and pick the color and be able to create a new project tag that would be available for future use as well too. So in this example, if I save my note, you'll see how easy it is to create that. It does keep everything there. Actually, I already created a note in this section, so it will keep multiple notes, which would kind of indicate that, yeah, multiple users could make notes on the same code section, and you could have different project tags for the same code section as well, too. This third icon will allow you to share this code section with someone else via the URL link. If you click on this and happen to use this email editor here, it would come directly from ICC support. So what I think most people end up doing is copying the URL, and quick and easy to do with that button right there. But what this does is it takes that URL, which is this same one you see up here. And as we said, since it's web-based and it's free to view iCodes to anyone, even if they don't have a license, it will send that link directly to whomever you email it to. And you can reference that exact code section. It will take them right there. So when people are coming into your department and maybe asking for a code section to be copied on the copier, and you hand them, take your book to the copier, hand them a piece of paper, now you can just send this directly to them via email. And when they click on it, they'll be able to go right to the code section you're referencing. Now, they obviously will not be able to view your notes. They won't be able to copy and paste, but they can view exactly what you're looking at, and they are able to see those related subsections that may be of interest them to read to. Final icon here is a print icon. You can actually do two things with this. You can print or create a PDF. Now, you obviously can't print or PDF the entire book or the chapter, but you can do that with any section or subsection. So I know that there's some people that still like to have access to their PDFs because it's somewhat electronic and, contained in their computer. But instead of the limitation here, it's just stuck on one person's PDF is in one computer. We have the ability, you can access these codes through digital codes, however you want. And the nice thing about this, instead of copying and pasting, it keeps the original format. So what you could do is send this to the printer, obviously, but as you can see, this was sections and subsections, actually a pretty long one because it has a table in there. But you see the footer on here as well, too. So people who you are sharing this with will know this is from the authoritative source. And what you can do, as we said, was put it to print, or you could download it and edit it with your PDF editor. That would allow you to mark it up if you needed to, or have the option to send it as an attachment. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to provide it, all formatted instead of just copying and pasting in an email, so you can download this and use it as an attachment when you send it. Going through here, let me finish up with what else we can read on this page here. The next section over here would be the notes section. So as I was talking about being able to use these notes, every note that was created in this book is available over here. If you have hundreds of notes and you want to filter them to just show notes to a specific project tag, and people may use project tags for like a property address or a commercial building or even a project, that will narrow it down and show you just those codes, codes with notes on them. And it is a hyperlink, so it jumps right to them. You'd be able to jump right to those codes as well too. While I'm here, as you'll notice, we have in this code section, you see these premium icons. That means there's additional content there. And what we've done is organize this a little bit differently to make it easier to find. So, for example, in this one, and we're showing you the blue typeface here. What that blue typeface means is that is a change from the previous edition of the IRC. So the 2018 changed in the 21. So that shows that there. Just to click on this, there is a legend there. Here's we're showing changes from the previous edition of the code cycle are in blue. If you're in a state amended book, there is red text to indicate the state's changes from the iCodes. And then we also do custom local building codes, at the city, municipal level, county level, and those changes to the state codes would be in a fuchsia color. So it's very easy to identify all these changes. So here's an example here. This code was changed, so we have code change details. And what this is showing you is the original proposal. So as this was being proposed to a change there during this 2021 cycle, you were able to read what was being proposed to be changed, who the proponents were, cost impact, everything that would be determined in the code hearings. And then as the code hearings occurred, here's another link. If you're interested in being able to view what was exactly discussed for that particular code section, we have that on video. So you can go through there and watch those as well too. And then finally, the key changes is more or less like a summary. So whether it comes from, as you can see here, this is significant changes, revision history, whatever might be pertinent there. So this is all additional information that is all you can only get with ICC. No other provider is going to have this information, but you can follow along with code changes as well too. And as mentioned, we started this with the 2021 cycle. We will continue on with the 2024. And we were getting feedback, hey, this is really great. I would love to know, which sections had these code changes in hearing videos, but you weren't able to actually find them unless if you were scrolling through and happened to come upon them. And what we did is provided this extra button here called our Premium Insights. So those different premium icon features that I was showing you, you now can sort for. So if you wanted to see every single code section that had a hearing video attached to it, we can now narrow that down, and anything that's shown here would have those hearing videos there attached to that particular section. I'll mention another one here I just noticed. We added in premium answers. While I'm here, let me go show you a code section that has premium answers. So, and this is once again easy to find with that filter. But for example, if you were looking at this particular code section and you see premium answers underneath there, it's kind of a neat feature we just added in the last month. But ICC does a service that does code interpretation. So these are historical ones that were asked specifically by users. And we've taken hundreds, I think we probably have well over 500 now, of the best ones. And not only did we provide them to you as a Digital Codes Premium subscriber to be able to view, but they will continue to be added more, and it is a feature that is included at no charge as long as you have a Digital Codes Premium license. So another nice aspect there. All right, I'll break right after I finish explaining the notes and see if there's any questions. But to once again finish up what I was talking about, the notes, we did talk about every icon that's available here. As you're going through each code section, and then these other things, sometimes I skip over because they just seem so obvious to me that I don't often bring them up again. But any of those links that you see gives you a quick hover to see what they're explaining, and then you can always open these links in a new tab. So it's kind of nice where you can have all these other tabs open and not have to go back and forth to view them. But all those are direct links. And you'll see in some of those, as mentioned, I'm using the Digital Codes Premium Complete. So if it happens to link out to a standard, you are able to jump right to those as well too. All right, finishing up with the notes. The premium tools that come with the license, we have reorganized our menu and trying to group those together, make them easier to see. And the notes and bookmarks, I will call this the administrative area for these. This will keep track of all the bookmarks and notes that were created. If you have a dedicated license, it's only you. It will be only your notes in there. If you are accessing this page from a group that you're part of, it will show everyone's notes that were created in here. Once again, here's the project tags. If you wanted to create a PDF file of specific notes for a specific project tag, you could do that. And the nice thing about that is you could select them. They can be in multiple books. And using that filter, it would filter out just that project tag where it occurred in any of those particular titles and books, and you could create a PDF from it. Let me jump over to my 2021 IRC and give you an example here. So this is a way you can see I have 15 notes that were created in the 2021 IRC. This is another way to access the notes. These are all hyperlinks. You can jump right to those from there as well. But what you're able to do from here is, let's say I want to select all notes because I want to now migrate these over into 2024, which has just been released. So imagine this. I assume, people are putting post-it notes or maybe writing notes in the margins of their 2021 cycle. And then what happens when 2024 comes out? Well, first of all, what happens when you got the first book from 2021 and there's been 2, 3, 4, or 5 versions of it? Have you updated your book or your PDF? Nice thing about this digitally is that any changes, any errata, any updates, any new versions, they're all automatically updated in your account. And here's the example here with just a few clicks of a button, all those hundreds or perhaps thousands of notes that you created, you could either move them all, which would delete them in 2021, or if you want to keep them in 2021, you can clone them. And then when you click on the buttons, select them all. I mean, you can do individual ones if you wanted to, but if you select them all, it will take all of your notes from 2021, put them into your target title, which will be 2024 when it's available, and they will all automatically move. And the system is intelligent enough to know that if the code section number has changed slightly, or maybe it's in a new chapter, it will attach it to the correct area with the correct content as it's been updated in the next cycle. So very convenient there, makes it easy to move and transfer your notes. All right, I'm going to pause for a second here, go back to the main page, check to see if there's any pertinent notes here or questions. I only see one question so far. I will encourage you to continue to post in here. This one happened to be asking about New Jersey codes. So good question. Let me spend a little bit of time on that. As you probably are all familiar, the International Code Council produces 15 I codes. Sometimes people refer to them as the model code because we invest the time in technology and intelligence to create these model codes. And then the states will adopt them in whole or adopt some of them or parts of them and then amend them as required by the state. This person happened to ask for New Jersey. Yes, we do have New Jersey as one of the states that contract back with us to produce their amended code, both in print and electronic format. And they do vary between states. As you can see here, New Jersey amends more than just the IBC and the IRC to become the New Jersey Residential and New Jersey Building Code, but those are the only two that they've contracted back with us to produce digitally and have them distributed. You're asking about other locations. I can show you that New York will do more. So there's their 2020. That's their latest considered cycle. And also, I can go as far as the interest. If you're scrolling down here and you can see this, we'll go to New York. And New York is also one of those states where we have New York City codes. So that was the example of changes. New York City changes to the New York State amended code would be in that fuchsia. The New York State changes to the international code would be in those red. So yes, you can access these different cycles, and California does that as well too, where they have their amended codes as well. All right, going back to the main page, what I will do from here is now give you examples of the advanced search functionality. Now, as mentioned, I have Premium Complete, which has 1,500 titles, so you probably would never want to do a search for a term like means of egress across almost 1,600 books. But let me just show you how you can apply these filters and show you how you may more likely search. But obviously, you knew that was going to give a lot of results. We got over 36,000. But some of the filters that you can use going down in order, let me narrow it down to just the I codes. And that reduces it down to just under 3,000. But here's an example where you could have searched just commentaries or those specific states if you wanted to as well. Next common filter people would probably use is the cycle if they want to be specific. So now I'm just doing the I codes 2021 cycle, and I'm down to just under 700. From there, you can do the actual book. And this is what I was pointing out. If I started from IBC, for an example, it would have just limited the search for IBC, which is probably the more common way you would do searches, but just wanted to show you from the high level view how you could start and go more refined. And then show you this too, because if you were looking for means of egress and then you just wanted to see something with tables or figures in it, I could select that and it would just return those search results that have actual figures in it. But let me just remove that. So what I've done is here's means of egress for the 2021 cycle of all the I codes. So what we have here is the ability to be able to see, okay, this came from the IRC, this is IEBC, IBC. You can start at the top of the title. You can go into the chapter section or right into the subsection. So let me just take an opportunity to go in there. I'll go into the subsection. And as you see, it opened a new tab. So my original results are still there. Kind of nice. You don't have to go back and forth with it. Um, and while I'm here, why don't I show you? See at the search bar here, now it reads search across the 2021 IBC. So instead of me starting from the home page, I could look just from here and do a search term. And as you can see, all these filters, it preset it over to 2021 IBC. And now you can see where those codes are coming from. And a quick thing here, for those of you that think they're comfortable and PDF is the latest and greatest thing, here's an example. If you were doing the search through the IBC with a PDF and you put in furnace, basically the way I think most of them work is you have now, it shows 11 results, but what if there was 50 or 100? You would have to tab through and it takes you to the next result each time. Whereas this one, you're able to see just at a glance an overview of how it's being used within the code section, which exact chapter. Maybe you were looking for something and you knew it was in chapter 10, but oh, I didn't know it was in chapter 9 and 2 as well too. So very much more convenience being able to use this advanced search functionality. So going back to my original search, if it's a search you use frequently, you could save it. But let me clear this and show you the advanced term search that you have access to as well. So as you open this up, you're probably familiar with being able to do searches using exact phrases, all, any, or none. Easy to use within there. But not every search engine has the ability to do this near-term search. So I always like using the same example if we use egress. But now let's say basement. What advanced term near search does, or yeah, the near search in the advanced search will look for those two words that you've designated where they occur within 50 words of each other in any of the code sections. So I just did a global search across all those 1,500, and it got it from, various different titles here. But that's a good way to use that if you're looking for something that's very specific on those two words, and we'll find those two words together. Let me first stop over to the commentaries, then I'll come back over to these other new features we just released, and then finally I'll talk about how you can use and share license collaboratively. Because as mentioned before, there's different collections you can get. Most people do end up going for the complete. Probably the first question I ask people after they're looking, maybe they just want their state collection or the iCode collection. The standards that we have here, and we can go through those at the end too, are only available in complete. But usually it's people say, I would like to have the commentaries. And anyone that wants one collection with the commentaries, I will tell you right off the bat that you are better off going with the complete because you'll get both of the collection that you were considering and the commentaries, and it'll be much less than buying them separately. But what I did want to show you about the code and commentary that I think is pretty cool that not everyone is aware of is if I go to an individual code section, once again, as you can see, the waffle here has all those icons. You could actually, the nice thing about this is that this is not, the commentaries are not available in the free view. So if you're dealing with homeowners or any of your constituents or contractors that may not have access, being able to have access to the commentaries allows you to, print or copy and paste this extra information. So for those of you that are familiar with the commentaries, that's going to be that diamond section there of each of the paragraphs that gives further explanation to each of the code sections. Now, the nice thing of being digital here is there's a button up here that reads hide commentary. So I'm going to hide that. And you could frankly use the commentary as your regular code book, for example, the IFC here. So this reads just like the code book would any place else, but when you get to a section, especially here, okay, that's just one sentence. I would like to have a little bit of a further explanation. And then you hit show commentary, and then boom, Instead of just that one sentence there, now it's going to give that explanation. So it's great for people, like I said, who may not live in the code or be that familiar with it. And once again, if you want to print this, to show it to your contractor or whatever else, it has that additional information that's not available in the free basic view of the digital codes, only available in premium. All right, next step, I will go through the premium tools here. I'm on the left-hand menu. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory. My library, let me start from the top here, make sure I'm catching everything. When you first receive your license, if you want to have some preview of tutorials and other things, onboarding videos, those are available there. You saw my favorites was listed in a couple places. If you go to a particular title, anytime you open up that first title there, you can put a favorite in there, that heart. When it's not filled in, to compare to when it's filled in, you can add it to your favorites. And then when we are in our favorites, I always like to point this out. Sometimes when you got 20 or 30 favorites, then those titles don't feel like they're very special or favorite anymore, right? Because you got so many of them. But what you are then able to do is manage them. And if you got IFC up on top, but you really want to still have your IBC up there, you can slide it up, and then it will organize those and put it whatever order you want. So that's usually the way most people access it. As mentioned, I usually start at the top front page, especially if you're first getting your license for the first time. Jump into the I codes this way, and then as you're finding books, titles that you want to put on your favorites, you can fill that in and then be able to access them here from your favorites list as well too. Browse contents, just another way to, representing that home page there. And then the Explore Premium digital codes for exams is just advertisements, marketing information about those other features as well too. But let me go through the premium tools, because I'll spend about 3 minutes on this and then 5 minutes on how to use licenses for teams. All right, so as mentioned, I talked about the premium answers. We keep adding more features, more apps, whenever they become available. We do take feedback. Let me show you this real quick, because this is real important. Whenever you're in your license or in your account, see that feedback? It's over on the right-hand side here. Please, you see something that is either looks like it's an error or a way to improve our software, fill this out. We pay attention to these, and we take all suggestions under consideration. And this is where several of these came out, where the premium answers that I showed you, the compliance calculators are new. Let me just take a couple minutes to show you the AI Navigator. This was just released about a few weeks ago, and you're probably familiar. You've heard about AI. Is it good? Is it bad? You heard about Chat GPT and the college students writing all their essays and terms papers with it. But there is a place for it, and what we've tried to do is build this and develop it. I know we've had some competitors who try to do some artificial intelligence with the codes, and it just, you ask it a question, and you would really like to have a 1 or 2 sentence answer, and it just provides 15 paragraphs. So Chat GPT is really good at writing, and it seems like it almost likes to impress you with that. But our goal here was to make it easy to use, and to give you a direct answer. So, if you have a license, you have access to this now. We encourage you to use it as much as possible. Most people haven't gone over their limit. I think you get 200 questions every 2 weeks, but most people haven't had a problem with that. And we encourage, as I said, for you to use it so you can give us feedback. So every time you write an answer or ask a question and get an answer, please grade it. I'll just use this one here, or drinking fountains required. So there's the question. We try to do this so you can ask it in common language, so you don't have to know too much about the codes. Now, you may be a code geek and already know the answer to all these, but this is especially valuable to people like contractors, homeowners, things like that, who may not be familiar with it. And then as you start using it, you're going to see a whole lot of advantages. So you did see you got an answer pretty quick, and it's a short answer, direct and to the point. What makes this special is that, as you can see there, we're trying to make direct answers, not give you a whole lot of extraneous information. It is not searching the entire internet, so you're not going to get any erroneous information. Right now, we have you available to pick from 3 different cycles of iCodes, so that search just the 2021. In the future, we're looking to expand it to state amended codes. I don't have a timeline on that. Obviously, people would like to have that. That is the next step and stage to this. So you're going to get accurate code only from the iCodes and not anything extraneous or erroneous coming from other people. So let's just take a look about what we asked here. Asked a short question. We prefer a short answer, right? And we did receive that. So maybe you knew that it was in IPC 2021 410, all right? But this is showing you what it searched for and the best answers that it came back with. So here we are, it's giving that explanation, the exact code, exactly, what the code reads, but it's nice. It phrased this back in a human sort of answer rather than just listing all the code. Where makes this effective is if maybe you didn't know it was in the IPC over here, or maybe it was in the IRC. So this is giving you alternative places where the code may be, and it may be helpful to you. And then you got access. Even if you don't have access to a particular title in the iCode, if for some reason you just got a single title, you would still be able to view it in the free view. But since you have and I got a license here for everything, you are now able to see all those different features. Here's the code change details, hearing videos, and everything. So the AI Navigator is actually getting great reviews back. Here's where we're saying, please rate it. If it was a good answer, give it a thumbs up. If it's a bad answer, give it a thumbs down. And, it's not going to always hit everything correctly, but the more that it's being used, and the more you're grading it, the better it's going to be. And sometimes if it gives you too vague of an answer, it doesn't know, throw in a couple more words of requirements, but we are trying to make it easy to use, common language. All right, let me check our questions one more time, and then I'll get into how you can use the licenses to share or use it in other ways too. iPads, digital codes on PCs. So that may be referencing the apps that we have, the mobile apps. I guess let me take time to go back to that. It's on the main page again here. So as I stated before, this is web-based. When you log in, you're going to get access to the most features that are available by doing it on your browser. So let's just take your iPad for an example. Your iPad has a browser on it. If you're connected with data on your browser, then I would use your browser to access the codes through here. I'll just give you an example. I mean, the app is available. It looks great. Here's screenshots, just what you've been seeing. Here's even the phone. It's organized very well. But like I said, when you're using the apps, you're a little bit limited on, sorts of the features that you have. So I would encourage you to use the browser. However, you can download that content to your app. So in case you're in a plane or you're in a canyon, all right, now if you have no data connection, you're not going to be able to access anything through the app over the web, obviously. But if you downloaded IBC, you would be able to go through and go, through that index, select a chapter, a section, and subsection, and be able to pull it up and review it. So the app is free. You don't have to pay extra for it as long as you have a license, an active license to Digital Codes Premium. The app will work with it. My suggestion is use the browser when you're on the iPads or your phones. But if you're totally offline, any titles that you have downloaded onto your phone, it can be up to 15, can be accessed without having any internet access. All right, I'll give you a quick overview here of how you can share licenses or collaborate with them. As mentioned, I guess I can pull up the information here. If you go to our store, as I was saying, I think most people will end up choosing the Digital Codes Complete. I'll start with this, just using it as a reference, okay? Once again, here's where I'm talking, where it is showing the non-member price. So when you log in with your ICC current membership, it will have a discounted price. That'll be confirmed because it will say member price being shown. And just to let you know, this is one license annually. I know I can't give you every scenario, but I know one license is $792 with the ICC membership discount. So it is significant. I would definitely at least get an individual membership if you're ordering, if you do not have any. So the second option would be the quantity that you could order. And as you can see, the different price breaks. Only thing, I mean, go with what your budget allows. But be careful if you are ordering 4 licenses. You know what? If you get 5, it may be just 10, 20, $50 more, depending on what, sections you're ordering and everything. And then finally, if you can do a 3-year cycle, it does reduce that significantly as well, too. But let me run through a scenario here. Let's say we have 20 people who want to get who want to have access to digital codes complete. Now, you could buy them each an individual license, and we do have some people that do that. They want to have always on access. They want their notes to be separate. They don't want to share people to see them unless if they specifically share notes. So let me give you 3 different scenarios, and each way drops down a little bit in price. So you got 20 people that access at any point. Maybe some do it often, some not as often, but we're going to give them all a license in this first scenario. That's the cost that would be annually. I'm not a member, so it's not, the fully discounted cost. But you could give these 20 licenses to 20 people, and they're all separate. They don't have to work together. They don't get to see each other's notes, and that's the way they like it. Now, let's say you do want these 20 people to be able to collaborate and be able to view each other's notes in a shared group. We could put all 20 of these licenses into a shared concurrent group, is what we call it. And if you give that group name to just 20 individuals, those 20 individuals will always be able to get into that group because you have 20 licenses for 20 individuals. And the benefit here would be that any notes that are created while in that group would be able to view by other people in that group as well, too. Let me take a little sidetrack on that same scenario. Let's say you got 20 people and they're 10 people in 2 totally different groups, and they don't want to see notes from the other group. You could take those 20 licenses, put 10 in one group for 10 people, 10 in another group for those other 10 people, and then they could go into those individual groups. They would always get access because only 10 people are in there for 10 licenses, and the notes are kept separate. So let's say you cannot afford all 20 licenses for your 20 users. What you can then now do is share the licenses. And just so you know, you'll be able to see these prices as you go in the shop. It is the same price for a license, whether you decide to make it dedicated to one person or share it. It's up to you. You can configure, you don't have to tell us beforehand if you're sharing them or dedicating them. And you can see the pricing there. So we have these same 20 users, but they're not always on. They don't always need access. So we're only going to get 5 licenses and put those 5 licenses into one shared concurrent group. I'm going to give that group name to all 20 people. All 20 people will be able to go into that group because they know the group name. The only limitation will be that only 5 can be in there simultaneously because you only have 5 licenses. So kind of as feedback, I've heard that a ratio of 1 to 4 licenses to users usually works. If you have heavier users or people complain that they can't get in, then you could put 10 licenses in for 20 people, whatever works. You can always add licenses later. It's no problem. It's just, like I said, I wouldn't estimate too low. If you need 10 licenses eventually, don't buy 2 at a time because then you don't get the benefit of the quantity discount purchasing 10. So that's how that can work. And everyone still logs in with their own account. As you can see here, here's my, Gmail ICC account. I got several different personas to show several different types of logins. But everyone still logs in with their own email address and creates an account. You don't share login information. You only share in the group name because for 2 reasons. You don't want to share account login information. And also, everyone logs in with their own account. So it knows when I make a note, it knows that Phil Anthony made the note and it will attach that information to any notes made. So the first time you log in, you would have to enter in, manually that code that you were given by your administrator. And as you can see, my account changed to the name of that group name. So that shows if I'm one of those 20 people in there, I'm using one of those 5 licenses because now I'm in that group. If 5 people are in, the 6th person will get a message reading that, it's all licenses are currently being used. Please try again later. If someone forgets to log out manually here, or they're inactive for 20 minutes while in that group, while that group name is displayed. If they're inactive for 20 minutes, it will automatically log them out so they are not monopolizing that license all during lunch or all during the weekend. Best practices way to leave the group is to go back. You see it says my personal account. I hit personal. You see that that group name is now left. That means I release that license. It is available for someone else to use. All right. So I will, please feel free. I'm going to come over to the questions now. So I kind of wrapped up the general overview. If I forgot anything, if you saw anything, go ahead and post the questions. But I did want to give an overview about how you can use those. Let me go and check chat now, and we will take whatever questions you have. And the rest of the time here is your time to post questions or ask questions. So I have not gotten any further questions. Just someone asked about the web-based part. Yeah, why I like noting that is, you're probably familiar, like a print book. A print book goes in someone's office or someone's library and it's there. It never gets updated unless if someone takes those new versions and, puts the colored papers in or whatever, however you do it. And if you don't happen to be in the office, then you can't access that book. If someone took it down the hall or took it home, you don't know when you'll be able to access that book. With digital codes, you got that IBC book. It's not a book anymore. It's a title that's accessible on the web. So it's not physically taken by anyone. As long as, if you're in a shared group, if someone's not using it, you can log in from your desktop, your laptop, your mobile devices. So, and then once you're done using it, no one has to track you down and ask you where you put it. They just log in and have access as well too. Another thing too, if you happen to have to work directly with your IT department, you tell the IT department that this, software is web-based, they love it because they don't have to do anything. They just manage it, with their usual web safety tools, but they don't have to, put any special things on a network drive or anything like that. Contrast that with the PDF. Usually, and I don't work with PDFs, so don't ask me any PDF questions, but I know that there's restrictions on them, copyright restrictions, usage restrictions, and then usually they're put in someone's laptop computer. And I won't name any city names, but I've seen cities order hundreds of these, and then they get put in, assigned to someone's laptop, and either the laptop gets lost, replaced, updated, or they don't know where any of this content goes, and you can't share the PDFs. So having all these codes digitally available on Digital Codes Premium with all the features and being accessible via the web is really a breakthrough. And I don't have any customers or users that have come back and said this is the worst thing after doing it after a few months. The toughest thing is transitioning if you really love books in print or code books in PDF. The hardest thing is just if you don't want to do it, is convincing those people to at least try it. The people that try it, and they may say, okay, I have to search differently, or I can't scroll through the entire book. I can only do it by chapters. All the other features that go beyond the limitations of print and PDF that they see, they end up saying, you know what, this definitely has a place. This makes it easier for me to do things. And if you still want to carry around your IBC book with you, you're able to do that if that gives you comfort in the back of the pickup truck as you're driving to the site. That's great as well too. But all right, so it looks like I have taken up most of the time here. Well, I talked a little bit longer than I normally do, so I will stop here. I will also stop the recording now, but I'm going to stay on here. So I appreciate everyone taking the time to visit and spend some time here learning about this. If you have additional questions, I'm available. I'm going to put my name back up on here. Let me do that right now.